So, I mean, can you please tell us what you make of the Giannis situation in Milwaukee? And do you believe that Doc Rivers is among the, not do you believe, do you agree? Because I know you don't agree. Can you believe that Doc Rivers is among the top 15 coaches of all time in anybody's list of the top 15 coaches, including Doc's?
Look, the Giannis stuff is incredible because he's been giving these quotes all season long, just left and right. And, me and George Sedano years ago came up with this line describing LeBron. They said LeBron doesn't leave breadcrumbs. He leaves whole loaves of bread, in the sense because he's passive-aggressive but not good. Like, he's just so obvious and blunt with it. Giannis is leaving bakeries behind. He had a game where he said his teammates were selfish and said, in the past I've had teammates who understood the gravity that I bring to the game, but apparently that's not the case anymore. He had the quote about how his agent is his own man. He said, I'm not responsible for anything he says. He's his own man, but he works for me. It's like, what does that mean? And then the latest one, which is he gets hurt. He pulls that calf, which has been bothering him. And after the game, And I talked to Jim Owczarski of the Milwaukee Journal-Sentinel. He says, this guy never talks about injuries. He comes after the game and says, yeah, I pulled my calf. We're going to do an MRI. When we do the MRI, they're going to show that my Solonius or whatever has been pulled, and it's going to take about 4 to 6 weeks of recovery. But during that time, if the team can stay within striking, he's like giving us a whole prognosis. I'm like, what are you doing, buddy? I think this is Giannis's coy way of like saying, hey, this isn't my fault, everything that's happening, but he still doesn't want to do the thing, which I think all of us think you just come out and do it and say, hey, man, thanks for the memories. I want to get traded.
I mean, does the injury now, 4 to 6 weeks, calf injury, we know that's the bugaboo term now in the NBA is a calf injury. Does this affect his potential trade market in February?
Not one bit. Not one bit. Anyone who's in the market for Giannis Antetokounmpo is in the market for Giannis Antetokounmpo. They don't care about him missing the next 4 to 6 weeks. They are there for it, and whether that's the Miami Heat, the New York Knicks, the Toronto Raptors are another one that's been listed. Like, they're ready to go. What's holding it all up is Milwaukee apparently is still saying, we don't know, or let's see if we can make a deal here around the periphery. Maybe we could turn Kyle Kuzma into something. And they're still playing this game of chicken where they're like, we don't want to trade him. And Giannis is like, I don't want to ask to get traded. So we're just going to pretend that this thing is going to work somehow.
I have not looked recently. They were 18-25, and then they lost against Denver at home. It doesn't even have Jokic. They're truly terrible. And I know that Kyle Kuzma and Miles Turner is not good roster construction. But if I told you before the season, if I put Giannis on any team in the sport, am I going to have more than 18 victories at this point in the season? Wouldn't you have said yes?
Yeah, I mean, if you said they had 18 victories, the first thing I'd ask is like, well, is Giannis healthy? And he hasn't been healthy, right? He has missed games. I think he's only played 30 games this year, and then many of those games have occurred with a minutes restriction. So, like, those two things do inform a little better why the record is as bad as it is, but it's still worse than what we would believe even under those circumstances. But Dan, do you remember Charles Barkley in Philadelphia? Like, how could he be that great and that team be that bad? Man, it's a team sport. Doesn't matter how good a player is. At the end of the day, you have to have competent infrastructure, and that includes teammates, and that includes coaching, and that includes everything.
I mean, teams are, like Miami are going to just put all their chips to the center of the table and say, here, take whatever you want in order to acquire Giannis. But he's going to be 32 this year. He's dealing with a calf injury now. He's been kind of injury riddled. Like, should any teams kind of be worried about that?
Yeah, he has a history of being durable. He's going through some stuff right now. It happens. Nobody's perfect. I mean, Jokic has been a durable guy, and now he's been out for a considerable amount of time with an injury. So I don't put him in the same class as, when we were talking a couple of weeks ago about Ja and Anthony Davis and those guys. Those guys have reached a point where it's like you think twice. With Giannis, like, you take that risk because, again, he has been durable, and when he's played, he's been just as stellar as he's always been.